Tesla is building an infrastructure for a decarbonized future. This has two implications. One is it's a fantastic solution for the climate problem. However, also Tesla is on the verge of becoming a monopoly in the largest market on earth, and that, of course, will create problems in the future. I want to talk about both of these things today. This is the Not Even Wrong podcast. It's October 8th, 2020. This is Krim Delko. For the day, the fund is up 25 basis points. The market is up 80 basis points. We are up 209% for the year. The market is up 6.5%. We're outperforming by 203.5%. So let's jump right into it. Chamath Palihapitiya, one of the probably most eloquent proponents of Tesla in the sort of daily business TV circuit, went on CNBC yesterday. He spoke about Tesla, and we usually at Orange Capital Partners really strive to have our own ideas and our own work. We don't follow other people, but since he has some really interesting thoughts, and we shouldn't shy away from borrowing some of those thoughts if they are congruent with our own thinking. So he said that he believes Tesla has left the competitive realm of cars and electric cars and things like that, and Tesla is becoming a solution for a decarbonized future, and the market is therefore in hundreds of billions, since we're now talking energy, battery, utilities, oil, fossil fuels, transport, factories, housing. Everybody who's using energy for whatever reason is going towards electrons and will need a solution which starts with hopefully solar or wind, then goes through battery, and then ends up in the use either in the car, house, or factory. So Tesla is building an infrastructure for a decarbonized future. And we have formulated similar thoughts in the past. I would say this is a very eloquent way to put Tesla's market potential in words, and therefore we are borrowing Chamath's thesis here. I think what it means is several things. First, we've spoken in the past few episodes about the futile efforts of companies like Daimler and generally the German car industry to catch up with Tesla. And what's futile about it is that they're sticking with the car market. For example, Daimler spent their whole strategic presentation from October 6th talking about luxury, service as a profit center, EBIT maximization through the whatever they have, which is mainly 100% ICE engines. So those aren't things that are relevant for a competitive positioning vis-a-vis Tesla, because Tesla has left that market already and is working towards a decarbonized solution, not just for transport, but for pretty much anything else. And part of that is the battery day has shown is the solution of building much more batteries at a much lower cost, which will open up markets in many different avenues. For example, it will enable Tesla to make more affordable cars, but it will also help Tesla make more affordable batteries, megapacks, and therefore also help disrupt utilities, because utilities right now are still the reason utilities still have a business is because of the battery problem. Or in other words, renewable energies, because of the intermittency, are not competitive yet with fossil fuels, simply because you need to add batteries, which on the one hand is a prohibitively costly exercise, but more importantly, it's also up to the utilities to either buy them or not. And if they don't buy the batteries, they can just turn around to the regulators and say, we need fossil fuels because we have intermittency. So it's kind of a catch-22, and Tesla is trying to solve that by making those batteries so affordable and then penetrating the market sort of in a classic beachhead type of way, and then growing slowly until everybody who is against this type of decarbonized solution doesn't have any other choice than jump on the bandwagon. The point here is, though, that if you look at Tesla from that perspective, you're looking at obviously at a multi-$100 trillion market. I'm not saying Tesla will catch all that market, but it's very feasible that Tesla will turn into an Amazon-style company where they dominate that market by far, and of course others will catch up, and there will be some sort of equilibrium or some, well, dynamic equilibrium at best, but there will be a dominance by Tesla going forward. And that leads me to the second point that I want to emphasize today, which is a risk, and the risk is monopoly power. I think we have come a long way since antitrust and all these issues were discussed in the 1930s in the US, and competition and antitrust has always been viewed as in a very simple term in the US. If it's good for the consumer, if it lowers prices, we will allow it. If not, we won't allow it. And that's why Silicon Valley has gotten away with building massive monopolies: Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, etc. All these companies are massive monopolies because they have been continuously driving down cost and increasing value, and that has been tolerated by the regulators. There is a new wind now in Washington, which is trying to curb the power of these tech companies. It's a very fundamental conversation because it goes against the grain of tech. To use Peter Thiel's thesis in Zero to One, every successful tech company in the end is building a monopoly. And he's very eloquent about that, or, well, actually, no, he's very blunt about that because he's calling it a monopoly. But then he's eloquently explains that, of course, that monopoly is not the sort of old school robber baron type monopoly. It is this new style, new age monopoly where you're continuously building an innovation stack. This is borrowed from Jim McKelvey's book, The Innovation Stack, where as a disruptor, as an entrant into a new industry, you're starting to solve small problems, you're then creating new problems, you're solving those problems, and you're growing yourself slowly but surely into a massive dominant market position of a new market that the incumbents didn't even realize exists. And that's how you become a monopolist. This happened to all these large companies. And my point here is that Tesla is on the verge of becoming the same exact company, but in a much larger market. It is the global energy, decarbonized energy market. Tesla is on the way to get there. I don't know if that's an explicit goal of the company, because the mission is still to accelerate the advent of a renewable, of a sustainable energy future. So it's not 100% clear if that implies dominating a global decarbonized energy infrastructure. Of course, you can make that bridge from Tesla's mission to this statement, but again, I don't want to put words in Elon's mouth and in Tesla's management's mouth. But if you just extrapolate from here and you look how the company is behaving and what they're saying, it's not far-fetched to think that Tesla in 10 years could be a dominant player in a decarbonized energy infrastructure. For example, this vertical integration, they're going down all the way down to the nickel. They want to make sure that it's not just available at scale, but also in a sustainable way. Because again, of course, it's a decarbonized and sustainable infrastructure. It has to be an infrastructure that can sustain the planet. Otherwise, Tesla's mission would not be fulfilled. And the efforts which are made to lower the cost of batteries and increase the sustainable and environmentally friendly production, even of raw materials such as nickel, just show how serious Tesla is about this problem. And I would say, given the track record of the company and given the Elon Musk's track record with his companies, also including SpaceX and the Boring Company and even Neuralink, he is able to deliver on his promises. So if we put all of this together, I believe we have a good expectation that within the next 10 years, Tesla will dominate a decarbonized energy infrastructure where transport is a big pillar, but other use cases, particularly things like cities and housing, will also be covered through the Tesla Energy business, the auto bidder software, where the software turns almost every household into a decentralized automated utility where you can buy and sell energy according to your needs. And all of this is produced with solar, particularly solar, and then maybe also other renewable energies. But right now, Tesla is obviously focused on solar. So if we look at Tesla in 10 years, we can say Tesla is a photon to electron to use case company. The use case can be again, cars, it can be house, factory, city, all kinds of use cases where the photon is transferred via battery to the use case at the time of need. In that case, there's a couple of things to say. Number one, the valuation of Tesla, of course, in such a scenario is more than justifiable, but we also have to point out the risk. And I want to finish this episode with a few thoughts about that risk. So we have a wind in Washington against the power of tech companies. There's two things to say here. Number one, why is this happening? And I think it's happening because of the arrogance of Silicon Valley. I will never forget the CEO of Google, Sundar Pichai, saying that his 11-year-old son is doing Bitcoin on his PC. That is arrogant. That is patronizing. He's turning something which is certainly not a good thing. I don't want my preteen son to waste his time with cryptocurrencies. But more importantly, that it's fine if people do things which aren't good, but if they're even proud of them, that is not okay. So this kind of arrogant behavior, and it's going through Silicon Valley, even Apple, of course, Facebook has a lot of those types of situations. That's, in my view, the problem. And people are attacking those companies not for their monopoly power, because their businesses are actually creating enormous value for people. It is the behavior of the companies that people are more and more questioning. Also, things like, for example, the housing market in the Bay Area going through the roof has not helped people that weren't part of this tech elite, of course, were squeezed out of the housing market. So things like that, which of course now are mitigated because the housing market now is falling back to earth because people are moving out of the Bay Area due to all this remote work and COVID and things. So some of this arrogance and hatred against the tech industry is kind of putting itself in place. But I still believe that this is part of the reason why this is happening. And now I think Tesla doesn't have that problem right now. I hope they will never have it. The culture of Tesla is not such of arrogance and we're stuffing our products down your throat and you better buy or shut up. It is a company which is enormously focused on customer experience, lowering cost, increasing value continuously with every possible way. So we like that. It's more like I would say an Apple in the early days of Steve Jobs when he came back, really focused on customer value, on delivering better experiences and making people happy by being customers. That as long as that can be maintained, I believe at least the social unrest relative to the company can be mitigated. Because why should you hate somebody who's doing good for you? Now, the other thing, that I think the other reason why there is a political wind against tech is just a political reason. That is, it's a good thing to do. It's popular. Even Trump is doing it. Of course, Trump is, like in his typical manner, talking a lot but not really doing anything. And I believe that the same might happen also under the Democratic leadership. I don't think Biden will actually do anything systematic against the tech industry, because as a Democrat, of course, he's partly funded by Silicon Valley. So he's not really going to attack them. There's going to be a lot of rhetoric and things like that. But I believe that the political opposition against the tech industry, it's a little bit like the political opposition against the oil industry 20, 30 years ago. What are you going to do? This is a large industry and you're on their payroll and you're not going to do much. So to summarize, I think this monopoly threat, I'm not taking it too seriously, even now for the existing tech companies and also for Tesla, because I think Tesla has the culture that is necessary for people to continuously be happy with the company. And this is absolutely key. A final point is a statement that I just want to contrast Tesla with Daimler again. Daimler is very proud of having the service and maintenance as a profit center that they even want to increase. They want to make more money with that. While Tesla is saying we don't want service, the best service is no service. This is a cultural difference which shows the mentality of the company. Daimler being a company that is okay giving you a product which is subpar so you can pay more to fix it, and Tesla driving value on every possible part of the value chain so you don't have to actually ever fix the car. Of course, that is not possible. You will have issues, but at least the mentality is there, and it will show in a better user experience going forward. And therefore we believe that the monopoly risk of Tesla is not as large, and that Tesla building a decarbonized energy infrastructure is the right path, and we're happy to be shareholders. Thank you.